Welcome back to Monster Transmission. I'm John. I'm here with our lead builder from Monster, Nate. So planetaries, traditionally they come with a 4-pinion, right?
Right, yeah.
So now on the SS we upgrade to 5-pinion.
Yes, we upgrade to 5-pinion.
So what's the benefits of the upgraded planetaries to do that?
It just gives you more reinforcement. I mean, because you're adding an extra gear in there. It takes off a lot more stress compared to the 4-pin planetary. So it's more equally around compared to having the 4 on there. So it just helps with the stress on it.
Now also on the valve body, I know, because I was watching one of the old Kurt's Corner videos, that one thing that we do with the valve body, they upgrade the spring that's in the valve body, and that is to
increase volume or pressure, depending on what it is. We have right here in our corrector kit, it'll come with a PR valve spring to increase line pressure, and then also a couple other springs to help that were flaws from the GM original builds. So it helps out with firmer 1-2 shifts. Your apply when you put it in gear is another thing. It updates that spring, and then actually has you drill out some of the ports in your ship plate to increase volume going to those areas.
So what we'll do is we'll actually put that link at the bottom of the description there of Kurt's Corner video. What he does is he goes over the common failures of the 4L65, and that first one was the valve body, and he talks about correcting it. It throws a code, he explains exactly what it is, he goes through each one of those while he's tearing down the transmission and what we do to correct that, so it's really good information.
Most common code for these is the 1870 torque converter slip code, and it's right in that TCC port valve, so we have to always update that to make it where it doesn't happen.
So people understand too, that's the difference between, you know, a rebuild and a remanufacture too. You know, we correct all the manufacturer mistakes, but errors or common failures, and we correct those, and of course we provide upgrades for the transmission based upon your application. Monster Transmission Showcase is brought to you by Burn Rubber Brewing, the official fluid for Monster Transmission. Now included with every transmission order. The best tasting fluid on the market, not for human consumption. We were actually just talking on the phone today with a YouTube channel that needs a special build. You know, we built a transmission for the same transmission for a different application, but it was a car, it was light, it was, you know, a race application, but now we got to build it for a heavy tow truck that's, you know, up to 20,000 pounds of towing and all this other stuff. So we can customize these transmissions for whatever your application needs. So talking about applications, so for the average guy, like Kurt's Corner and his 57, he is going to get better gas mileage, better performance.
Absolutely, yes.
He's got a shift kit in there. It's going to be quieter going down the road. It's just going to be a much more pleasant experience. But talk about the guys that are high performance. So we have one that we've built in the 4L60 family was for Tony Cano.
Yeah.
So now we always, when it gets over 1,000 horsepower, we typically like to say, hey man, go with the 4L80. Because 4L80 is based off the Turbo 400. Naturally, it's a stronger transmission, and we can build those out to handle a lot of horsepower. We'll talk about that next week. But the gearing, right?
Yeah.
So they like that better on the 60s and 700s.
Because that's that 306 first gear. That was the one thing that we tried to push him to do a 4L80, but he likes that first gear on there. So we had to really beef it up and, you know, put the smart section drum in there and do the trans brake unit on that one also.
Yeah.
So it was a really good build.
Full manual valve body, and that was, So, and so part of that too is constant pressure valve body, right?
Yeah.
So that
increases max volume, line pressure.
Yeah.
It stays at about 280 to 300 PSI at all times.
Yeah, and he's got, that thing's a serious build. He's got nitrous and all sorts of fun stuff. So those are just some ideas of what we do in the Monster transmissions and the different applications that you can apply this for. So if it's a weekend hot rod that you want to just take cruising, go to car shows with and get better gas mileage, get a better drive, the 4L60 family conversion package, if you wanted to just get away from messing with TV cables and all that stuff, you can now get a standalone computer. Yeah. We have a couple different vendors that we work with, and most of those I think you can modify shift points, you can do all sorts of fun stuff on an app with those now. And they're plug and play, a lot of them, they're self-learning.
A lot of them, some of them actually have a Bluetooth enabled where you actually have an app on your phone that you can control the ship points as you're driving down the road, or you have different maps. So you say program A, B, and C. So you're like, hey, I'm just gonna be cruising around town, so I just wanted to do standard shifts, lock up immediately. You can have one program, or you can have your race program where it stretches out the ship points a lot more, and it doesn't engage lockup to a certain amount of RPM in range. Another thing is, a lot of people are scared to go mechanical or from mechanical to electronical because, well, my old car doesn't have an electronic speedo. But there is boxes, you can actually get them from Dakota Digital or other places that will actually take the signal from the electric speedo and then convert it to cable again. And it's a little box you put in so that you still keep your
Just plug
OEM
your cable
cluster.
right
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
Here's the thing everybody has to understand. They don't remold these cases anymore. So 700 R4s, they were a dime a dozen 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, it's getting harder and harder to find them. So if you have one, we do offer like core to builds, things like that. We work with you in order to, and of course we have good core suppliers that we've been in business with for 20 years with.
Yeah.
We can still get them. But I will tell you is availability, is less and less. Prices have to start going up because our vendors are charging us more and more for those too. So it's coming down to, it's almost cheaper now to go with a full electronic conversion than almost to go with a 700 conversion, depending on the build. It's more high tech, more reliable, more options. 65, and of course if you're dropping an LS in anything, you want to go with a 65 or 4L85, which we'll talk about next week.